Hey, thank you so much for tuning in. So glad to be able to bring you our April update for Youth for Christ of Indian River County. My name is Kevin Kreuter, and I have the privilege of being able to serve as the executive director here. And with me today is one of our campus life directors. This is Glenn Tappan. So we're glad to be with you to be able to bring you some information on what's going on here in Indian River. A couple weeks ago, we had the opportunity of celebrating our biggest event of the year. And I have to say that we are so grateful to the Lord and so grateful to those that came out to our Be the Story event and made it such a special night. Also helped us to move the needle in terms of our capacity to be able to continue to reach kids effectively here in Indian River with the gospel. Glenn, what was your favorite part about this year's Be the Story event?
Well, I would say the crumble cookie, but that wasn't actually my favorite part. It was delicious, though.
It was delicious.
I think not only getting to see just so many people interested in Youth for Christ, that have a real heart for the ministry. I mean, it's hard to pick. The student interviews were wonderful. Hearing from Matthew, one of our leaders, I mean, it was just, I was ready to tear up from that, from Libby's ask about her heart, about us needing to go out there and rescue these children. I mean, the need is there. So I think it was just a really fantastic night. It's hard to pick one favorite. But I just think it was an awesome opportunity to get everyone together for a very important cause.
Absolutely. And speaking of that, I mean, from those that came and supported, those who weren't able to attend but sent in donations, God just provided through this event in significant ways. Our goal for the event was to raise $40,000. And because of our generous matching gift donors and those that gave during the appeal at Be the Story, we were able to raise over $52,000 to continue to support the mission to bringing the gospel to kids here in Indian River County. So we're so grateful for the generosity of our partners and so thankful to the Lord and His provision. We also, out of the event, had 10 people indicate a desire to serve with us in direct ministry to young people. We had 30 people who wanted to be added to our prayer list to continually lift us up and the ministry up before the Lord each month. And so we're so grateful for all of those that engaged with us. And it was just a beautiful time to be with so many who love our Lord and who support our mission and want to see kids come into relationship with Jesus Christ. So again, we're grateful. Thank you for your participation in this year's Be the Story. So, well, Be the Story is one of the many fundraisers that we have throughout the course of the year to support the mission. So let's start talking a little bit about the mission. And so again, Glenn is a campus life director, which is it is our primary ministry model in this area. Glenn, what ministry sites are you currently serving at?
Yeah, so I'm over the Freshman Learning Center and the Vero Beach High School main campus. So they're kind of tied together. There's a campus dedicated just to the freshmen because there's so many incoming freshmen, and then the Vero Beach High School main campus, which has the rest of the grades.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about campus life at those locations. What does it look like? When do you meet? Those kinds of things.
Absolutely. So right now, the Freshman Learning Center, we meet on Tuesdays, and at Vero Beach High School, we meet on Thursdays from around 10 to 12-ish, right, during their lunch period. So we come in, we get everything set up, and then we feed the students some snacks. Sometimes we'll bring some pizza in for them. We'll play a game, and then we'll drill in some really good discussions. So we just got through a series called Who Told You That, all about misconceptions about Christianity, about Jesus, about can you just do whatever you want? And we give the opportunity to the students to engage in discussion on their own turf, to express their opinions about these topics without being judged. And then we will wrap it up with one of our leaders who will give us a Christian perspective, like a little short 4 to 5 minute talk about the Christian perspective on that topic. So that's a little bit of what club looks like. For my clubs, they're lunch clubs, so we do 2 of them, just the same thing twice, and we do that Tuesdays and then Thursdays.
Awesome. And so the majority of the students at any of our campus life clubs are non-Christian students because that's our target audience. We want to have over 70% engagement with non-Christian students at any given ministry site. Some of those sites, it comes a little more naturally. Others, We're working to draw more non-Christian students in, but that's the goal and the objective. And so it provides great opportunity for engagement around those themes that are important to all students, and it gives non-Christian students an opportunity to wrestle with things that perhaps they don't intentionally think through. And then also, of course, to hear that Christian perspective. So I'm really glad that you all are doing that on those two campuses. And I know that recently you've had conversations with some of your leaders at those sites. And as you're taking stock of the students' journeys through campus life over the course of the year, you've seen some real movement in terms of student understanding. And so I want to just give you some freedom to just talk a little bit about some of the things you're celebrating at those sites.
Absolutely. So this is really exciting. We'd come to the realization after a gospel presentation this past week about some students that have been walking with us for some time, often for over 2 years. And these are a lot of students that a year ago, maybe they would have marked, I already have a relationship with Jesus during one of our gospel presentations. But I would have looked at their life, and our leaders would have looked at their life and said, that's not true. Maybe they say it, maybe it's, there's something there, but they're definitely not following Christ. I'm confident now that there's at least at main campus 5 students who have been walking with us, often from the Flick, the Freshman Learning Center, that now looking at their life and how they respond and how faith is part of their life and they're praying that they are following Jesus. And I've been so hesitant to say, okay, let's start to see some fruit. But we are seeing fruit from these students being walked alongside for the past couple of years. We are seeing fruit from our leaders intentionally being part of their life, bringing Jesus week after week, meeting with them one-on-one. And now they're coming to an actual understanding. And what I love about this is there's nothing wrong with a good old, revival, present the gospel, give your life, flip in one day, which, that's kind of how my walk and a lot of people's walks, I'm sure your walk as well, how it started was this one-time decision for Christ, and it flowed from there. But these students are now having a very solid foundation built of an accurate understanding of Christ, of the gospel, what it looks like to follow him, what comes with it. And this is a foundation that's built through intentional discipleship from our leaders. And we're now seeing the fruit of that, of a very solid relationship that's not, later on it's going to kind of fizzle out. Like if they believe, they believe. I think you're seeing that a lot in this younger generation. So that's exciting, and there's a lot at main campus, and even at the Freshman Learning Center, some students that had no interest in Jesus before came to camp and now are inviting their friends. One student in particular, I love it. He's still not a Christian, I wouldn't say. He's still kind of wrestling, but he keeps inviting people to club. And he even, he was talking about, like, we were asking one of the students, like, well, why are you here? And the person who invited him says, well, he needs Jesus. That's coming from someone who doesn't even fully follow Jesus right now. So there's exciting stuff. And it is a long haul journey. Sure. But that's what we're about. It's relational evangelism. It's sticking with it for the long haul with these students.
Yeah, well, that's wonderful. So some of the things I heard you say are you had students that perhaps were either nominal Christians or just people who would identify as spiritual, and they had some understanding of God, but looking at the fruit of their life, looking at how well they follow Jesus, there really wasn't much regard for that at the beginning of the year or at your time with them. And now, through walking alongside the leaders, whether it be in campus life or through appointments and seeing them modeling following Christ as well, those students have kind of turned a corner and have taken their faith seriously, or have faith where they didn't before, which is awesome. And then, of course, that story you recounted at the Freshman Learning Center, a student who has not yet for themselves made the decision to follow Jesus, and yet is inviting other non-Christians because they recognize the need for Jesus in their life. That's amazing. So awesome. It is awesome. So it's great to see the different ways in which God works through our campus life leaders right here, middle schools and high schools in Indian River County. So thank you and your leaders for the service that you do. So, yeah. Well, the school year is coming to an end. In fact, we only have, I think, 6 or 7 more weeks of campus life left before the school year ends. But as the school year comes to an end, ministry doesn't come to an end. It certainly looks different outside of our normal campus life rhythms, but our leaders meet with students in various ways. And I'm going to talk about a big one in just a minute. But Glenn, what are some of the ways that leaders engage outside of school here locally over the summer with the leaders, with the students they built relationships with?
That's a great question. It looks all sorts of different ways. Some of our leaders, they have like a prayer breakfast that they do. They'll invite the students out for a breakfast in the morning and see how they're doing. Kind of just pour into them, disciple them. Some leaders go out for beach days. I know one in particular is going to be bringing them out to go painting at the beach. And so appointments are also a lot more possible because some students go out of they travel for the summer, but some just stay and have a lot more free time that the leaders can now use to meet with them and continue pouring into them over the summer.
Yeah. And this is something that, probably a common misconception that people have about campus life is that it's a program. And it's not. In fact, the program just facilitates an ongoing relational evangelism, relational ministry. And I think we see that more acutely over the summer when the program's removed, and yet that relational evangelism continues. So I appreciate the many creative ways that leaders use to invest in kids over the summer when we don't have our normal program. But we do have one major event, actually technically two, every summer that is truly a continuation of the ongoing ministry that takes place over the course of the year, and that's our middle school and high school camps, right? And so Glenn, you're over 2 high school sites. Can you tell us a little bit about this year's upcoming high school summer camp?
I would love to. So I'm really excited this year. Beginning of July, we're actually taking our students to Fuge camps. I love these camps. They're super professional. They're great opportunities for us to continue building relationships with the students, particularly Fuge in general. Makes it very easy because they have full-time staff and super great programming for leaders to just show up and pour into their students and be there when their students are engaging in the material, engaging in worship, and fully focusing on the Lord for a whole week. They get to be there for those moments. And that's what's so great about camp is life keeps happening. Students have so much going on, family things, they have jobs, homework, friends, things that distract them. Yeah, they come in for a couple, for an hour, less than an hour, 30 minutes for us, at campus life, and they have building times. But what's so great about camp is this is a week. These are 5 days where these students do nothing but focus on the Lord. And the Lord, every time we go to camp, uses those 5 days of being intentionally focused on Him to change students' lives. I know my life was changed at camp, and I know it's going to be the same for these students this year. So I'm really excited about it.
Absolutely. There's a YFC motto, camp is where things change. So when you think about how much time and energy our leaders spend investing in young people, planting seeds for the gospel throughout the entire year, it's oftentimes at camp that those seeds bear fruit because of the time and intentionality that we get to spend with them in the course. And so they'll have the opportunity to repeatedly hear the gospel, whether it's in a big room time or with their leaders. They'll have opportunity to really open up and engage with their leaders. And it's it is a special time, and God never fails to do amazing things at camp. And then middle school is a couple weeks after. Both of these camps are in July, high school at the beginning of July and middle school at the end of July. Middle school is also a special time where, at least in our area, we've continually collaborated with other YFC chapters throughout the state to pull together a huge middle school camp at Southwood Camp, which is a Young Life facility up in northern Florida, and we're looking forward to that wonderful opportunity as well. Right now, students are registering for both high school and middle school camp, and we are trying to make a way for every student to be able to participate in camp. Unfortunately, one of the big realities is that camp goes up every year like everything else. In fact, our cost for camp is about $450. We're subsidizing some of that for our students, but still Glenn, what's the cost for each student to participate in camp this year with our subsidy?
Yeah. So for high school camp, we're charging $400 a student. That's a lot. It's a lot of money for these
That's a
students.
lot of money.
Especially for families where they might have siblings that want to go, and
Yeah.
it's that's not easy.
It's not easy. And most of the students that we engage with tend to be in the lower income brackets, and it is difficult to be able to come up with those funds. And we never want finances to be a reason the student does not have the opportunity to engage with the Lord and the gospel in the context of camp. And so we're asking our wonderful donor base, for those in our community who love Jesus and love kids and want to impact them for eternity, to consider providing either partial or full camp scholarships so that we could send every student who wants to go to camp. And so would you please even consider doing that? And we'll put a link below on the screen so that you have the opportunity to go to our website and to be able to provide that donation if you would like to help a kid get to camp this year. But we're excited because God never fails to do amazing things at camp, and we trust that He's going to do so this year as well. So absolutely. Well, thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you so much for your interest and your support in what God is doing through Youth for Christ right here in Indian River County and beyond. Thank you, and God bless.